Hello and welcome back everyone, we're of course back, and today, as you can see, we're back on Hypixel Skyblock. Now, today's kind of guide, not really, is all about some of the best tips and investments for early game players. Now, I have done, several guides at this point, and those are specific guides. This is for all around the best things you're going to want to get and do in the early game. First off, you are going to want to invest in a couple of specific accessories. You're going to want to invest in a lava talisman and a fire talisman. Now these, they may not seem too helpful, but trust me, if there is lava in the dungeon or in the deep caverns or anywhere like that, or if there's fire anywhere, it is going to save you a world of annoyance and pain to just have these, and they'll also, up your accessory scope, or your points in your accessory bag anyway, which will in turn, of course, give you more of magical power, or more magical power all around. Now, the next thing I want to say is all around, just invest in various accessories anyway. Things like the shark tooth necklace will also give you a bunch of extra strength and all that. Even if you have two of them, I think it still just takes the higher one. I only have this one in here because I had it anyway and I didn't feel like wasting storage somewhere else when I had room in here. But things like intimidation artifacts, things like spider rings, zombie rings, even if they're really just useless to your way of playing, they'll still give you magical power, which will in turn give you, more to whatever you have as your magical power, which I will explain real quick over here. Basically, over here, you can talk to Maxwell and can choose your accessory bag magical power, or your stone power. And these will give you very big, very helpful boosts. For example, mine right now gives a ton of crit damage, as you can see. There's other ones for a ton of intelligence, ton of strength, crit damage, and intelligence. There's ones that give speed, there's ones that give a ton of defense. They really can give almost any stat in the game, and as you get more magical power, you're going to be able to do stat tuning, where you can basically put more stats, or more skill into certain stats. Which means, of course, you can give yourself more strength, like I did, or more health, or anything like that. So this is going to help you a ton, and it's going to help you in a ton of different ways. Once again, these things give you very helpful boosts, even if you don't necessarily use them, or need them. For example, reduced damage from skeletons, no one really needs that, but it still gives you the accessory for the magical power. And if you ever do fight a skeleton, there's no reason to take that extra 5% when you could just reduce it. The next thing I want to suggest investing in is a good clearing weapon, which, as of right now, I can't really suggest one very confidently, because they did up the requirement for the Flower of Truth to where you have to complete floor 6 of the catacombs, which is insane considering this thing never had a requirement before. So if you have completed that, definitely get a Flower of Truth. But as I said, I don't even really know a good choice at this point, but something I could suggest is maybe an ink wand, which will be pretty expensive, but it at least will shoot a bomb that does 24k damage and isn't too expensive. Another good choice would be, of course, the Frozen Scythe, which is very expensive, but if you can get this thing with Ultimate Wise, if you can get it enchanted up real good, it can do some good damage. It definitely lacks on the damage later in the game, though. But as long as you can deal damage to multiple enemies at once, it's going to help you a ton. That also goes for things like the Aspect of the Dragons, which may be may be easier to get early game, because those only cost about 1 mil, but they cost a ton of mana for their ability, and they are a bit lacking in the range department for it, but they still are good. Anyway, the next thing you're going to want to for sure invest in, if you haven't already, is a Aspect of the End, specifically Heroic, or, I would suggest Heroic at least, because this, of course, allows you to, teleport. And you have no idea just how helpful this will be until you have one, and then when you don't have that ability anymore, it'll feel like you just don't even know what to really do. I don't know why my arms and all that are invisible, but anyway, the next thing to invest in is a certain kind of armor set. Now, this kind of armor set does not have to be anything in specific, but you want, you know, your main armor set, of course. For example, this is mine. It's my damage dealing and my tanking and all that armor set, and it's very good for me, at least. You also, as you start getting into fishing, you're going to want a fishing set. This is the best one I can have right now. And you're going to want, you know, a mining, a mage, and a speed set. Now, those generally are going to be different sets, but for me, I have them all in one. Now, this isn't generally a great speed set, but it does give a good amount of speed, and since I always use for Rogue Sword and Hunter Knife, I can easily get up to almost max speed without having to invest in something like Young Dragon or anything even more expensive than that just to be able to run fast. So I highly suggest also keeping a Rogue Sword and a Hunter Knife on you, because this can give you 140 speed, and they're basically 3. And then, you know, mixed with Glaciite, of course, you're never going to run out of mana using the Rogue Sword. You're never going to really run out of mana using the Aspect of the End, so it's going to be a very easy time. That is also actually why you may see me running around in this armor set a lot during videos, just because I can get around faster, and a lot easier since I can teleport a literal ton. I mean, this is way more than I can teleport with my normal armor set. The next thing that you're going to actually want to invest in is not something that will help you in terms of stats or anything like that, like these or like the accessories, but you are going to want to invest in a certain kind of pet. Generally, you're going to want a pet that, you know, does what you need it to do. If you like to tank things, go for a Mithril Golem or a Rock or something like that, where you can get a ton of defense and true defense and anything that will make you tanky. Blue Whale is also really good for that. If you like dealing damage, like I do, Lion is going to be your best friend. This thing will do amazing bonuses for your damage, especially with that first pounce ability. But there is one more very important thing that you can invest in with pets. If you go on into here, and if you look for a guardian pet, and if you make sure to go for, of course, the lowest price, get a common, you generally can find these for 200k at the lowest, and then if you level it up, which you're going to do anyway by doing the experimentation table for your enchanting level, and upgrade it at cat, you can of course sell these things for around 2 million or more. And this is of course a very passive income method, but this will give you a ton of money, and it'll only cost you a little bit in comparison. I think it's basically gonna double your money most of the time, or even more than that, which is amazing. Now the next thing is not an investment, or well, it is an investment of time, but it's mostly a tip for what to do. You're gonna want to actually, you know, level up skills even if you don't like them. For example, my foraging is 13. I really need to level this up, and the main reason for that is every level will give you an amount of strength, at least for foraging. For other things, it may give you defense, which is how it is for mining, health for farming, or crit chance for the combat levels, which is going to help you tremendously. And these, of course, will also give you the bonus, like how this one lets you do, you know, 4% more damage to mobs for every level, which is going to help over time by a lot. But yeah, that is basically my main point. If you have a skill that you don't like leveling, that's alright, but you definitely have to level it up at some point, because look how much, let me go over to alchemy. Look how much intelligence I'm missing out just by not leveling this. Look how much strength I'm missing out in foraging by not leveling this. It's an amazing amount when you really think about it, but it does take time, and it's something that you kind of want to start earlier rather than later, or honestly, later rather than earlier, whichever is easier, because things will of course get easier to level as you get later in the game. Now, the next tip that I want to give for all of you is, if you're early game, and if you've unlocked the Bazaar, of course, get to Bazaar flips as fast as possible. Now, I have a video explaining how these work, but I am going to explain it really quickly. Basically, in essence, you buy something and then you sell it for more. So I could buy this for 56k, and then I could sell it for 60k. Now, you're going to start off with really small things in the beginning. For example, I started off with like hay bales and stuff like this, which, you know, those will not give you much profit, but they will give you profit. So, you know, this will be a perfect passive money-making method, and most of the time, if you do it right, you won't lose anything and you'll only gain. So you're almost definitely going to want to make sure that you get into Bazaar flips as fast as you can, just so that you have as much, you know, time to make money through it. Now for my next tip, this is a very big one. It's going to help you a ton. You know, it'll lead to a bunch of information about other topics in all of Skyblock. You're going to want to make sure to subscribe to the channel and check out my other guides, of course, because then you're going to, you know, you're going to learn how to one-shot zealots. You're going to learn how to level up your skills. It's going to help a ton. Anyway, the next one really is to, of course, make sure to get the fairy souls. Now, these are not going to help you anywhere near as much as they used to. They have been severely nerfed. It's honestly kind of disgusting how much they were nerfed. But they are still serving a purpose. They will still help you. Because, sorry to say because again, it's just a bit of a long walk even with my speed. If you go over here, you'll see that, you know, if you give her the fairy souls, you will get backpack slots and you will get Skyblock XP. Now, for one thing, I kind of hate the Skyblock XP system. I'm not a fan of it, but it will give you more health over time. And I mean, 5 health a level, not great in comparison to the fairy souls, but there are of course way more levels that you could get. So make sure to invest your time in still getting them if you haven't already. Anyway, the next tip is to of course level up your bestiary. Now I know I talked about this for the entire guide last episode, but I cannot stress just how helpful getting 1,000,000 combat XP is when you're, you know, only going to be getting a couple hundred by even the later game mobs. I mean, I'm not talking late game mobs really, I'm just saying like once you get into the Nether and you're killing magma cubes and stuff like that, even those will only give a bit over 100 combat XP. So that 1,000,000 every now and then, it's going to be a big boost for you, and it's going to, you know, you're going to be looking forward to that. Basically, the bestiary is the combat skills version of, you know, the enchanting experimentation table. It's just that good. Anyway, the next tip is of course to actually upgrade your profile itself, which you can do by going into the community shop right here, and by getting account and profile upgrades and upgrading whatever you can for free. Now of course you're going to be able to choose what you want to do first, and I'm not saying any of these are better than the last. They're all very different and they're all very helpful in their own way. But you are going to really want the minion slots, the accessory bag, the ender chest pages, and of course the coins allowance. Because even when you start getting a lot more money, 30k a day for doing literally nothing is a solid amount. That's nothing at all. That's not a Bazaar flip, that's not interest, that's just existing. And of course I don't even have to explain how helpful minion slots are, because that's just gonna help as much as possible. That, you know, that's easy money right there. Anyway, the next guide, as I just was talking about minions, is going to be to actually, you know, make sure that you have good minions for money. Now, I am going to be making a minion guide very soon. That very well might be the next guide. But if you have, say, a cobblestone minion, or if you've got exclusively cobblestone minions, that's great. You're gonna get the collection really fast. You're gonna get a bunch of cobble. You won't get much money though. I mean, you'll get a solid amount, sure. Because it does still sell. You know, it's not gonna just not sell. But you are going to want to look into the actual prices of what things sell for. And for that, I suggest things like the slime minion, or the clay minion, or the snow minion, stuff like that. You know, the general kind of things that seem like a meta that people talk about. You know, you'll often see people selling clay minions and snow minions in the hub for generally around like 500 to a mil per tier 11 minion. I think some people even sell snow minions for around 500k to a mil for a tier 1. Or at least they did a while ago, I don't know if they still do. And then, you know, with the materials you get from those minions, you're of course going to be able to sell them to the Bazaar to be able to afford whatever other things you need to buy or invest in. Okay, so the next and final tip I have for today, I may do another video like this when I get more ideas, but this is just kind of things off the top of my head that are very helpful to new players. You don't want to forget to do your Slayer bosses, which you'll find, of course, right over here. You're going to want to go in the bar, and then just go under the basement, or in the basement. And basically, this dude here will have quests for you that you can start up and have to fight a boss. Now, these are not going to be super easy, of course, but early game, you're going to be able to do 500 health for a Revenant level 1. You know, you're going to be able to do these at some point, and you don't want to forget to do them because they will kind of lead to you being able to get good stuff. For example, the Zombie Slayer will let you get the Wands of Healing and Mending and all that. Which right here, as you can see, the Wand of Mending, which is only the second of 4 tiers, will give you 90 health a second for 7 seconds. Now that's not amazing, but if you're, you know, cornered, you're waiting to heal, that's going to help speed that up by a lot. And then another boost or bonus of doing the Slayer quests is that they'll actually give you bonuses to your health and other stats as well. The Zombie Slayer will give you health, and not to mention amazing gear that you can get over time. This is when you start to get Revenant minions, which I don't think are considered the best, but they are still a Slayer minion that's going to be, you know, helpful to have if you do get them. You know, you're going to get good accessories, you're going to get stuff like this. Very good stuff. For things like the Tarantula, you are of course going to get crit damage, which is very helpful. Like, incredibly helpful. You know, for the Sven Packmaster, you're going to get straight up health and speed. All very helpful things. And these are, of course, very intricate, very well-made boss fights, too. For example, the Sven Packmaster will have a really annoying but very powerful boost where it basically can split into a bunch of puppies halfway through the fight that are going to try to kill you, and it's just going to be very difficult. But, once again, over time you'll get health, speed, damage, whatever from these, and you'll get weapons that actually allow you to deal with them easier. You know, this is not quite amazing, of course, but this is very helpful, and if you don't really have a great sword by the point that you get this level, you're going to be able to make this really cheaply, and you're going to have a pretty solid sword to fight the wolf slayers with. You're going to get, over time, the highest health armor pretty much in the game. There's people with this that can have up to like 20,000 health, and basically just be living tanks. For the Tarantula, you're gonna get bows, you're gonna get, you know, a pretty alright sword, you're gonna get all sorts of stuff. All around, you're gonna get things that are gonna be amazing, especially as the levels progress. Specifically, for the Enderman Slayer. Now, once you hit level 5 in this, which is of course very difficult, I'm not even level 5 with Revenant Horrors yet, you're gonna be able to use the Juju Short Bow, which is generally considered like the second or third best bow in this entire game. And due to the update happening recently, and technically nerfing the Juju Short Bow by making its requirement 2 levels of Enderman Slayer higher, they are selling for insanely cheap right now. If you have gotten to this point of the video, and if you're seeing this, and of course if you have like 12 to 14 million, I absolutely suggest buying a Juju short bow. Like, I got a fully maxed out, recombobulated, hot potato books, 5-star, Juju short bow for 15 or so million coins the other day. Or it may have been like 17 million, but one way or another, I got all that for cheaper than the base one is made. And I can't even use it yet. I'm not even Enderman level 1. Because I don't really follow my own advice, to be honest with you. I forgot to do Slayer, and I still have to. But if you're early in the game, and if you need, extra health, and if you're looking for something to do, don't forget to do Slayer. Slayer is here. It'll cost some money, but it'll be well worth it over time. And there are, of course, other drops that they will drop that you can sell for a solid amount of money too. Anyway, that's the end of the video. If you liked it, if it helped you at all, make sure to leave a like on the video, make sure to comment down below how it helped you, or maybe some other tips to help other players. That is very helpful too. Say if you've randomly figured out something that helped you, let other people in the comments know. Or even just for saying it for fun. Anyway, if you liked the video and if you want to see more like it, more guides over time, make sure to subscribe. Thank you all very much for watching. Till next time, everyone. Also, make sure to check out my various social medias in the description below. And goodbye!